Hi, everyone. Happy holidays and hope you're doing well in your neck of the woods. I want to have a chat with you about this feeling we're all having going into 2025 that things keep getting worse and the world is falling apart. At least that's what I'm feeling. But I want to always remind you that it doesn't have to be that way. During this holiday season, I know a lot of us are just focused on, God, I wish I get more presents under the tree. I wish we could do more, etc. The main thing to focus on is make sure you have people around you that care about you, right? It's not about the presents under the tree. It's about having the people around you that are here to support you. And I'll just tell you this, guys. I show up every day and I try my best to support you by giving you good information, a safe place to have real conversations about all the challenges facing us all together in the world and try to build bridges. I know, we make jokes about things that are happening, and that's essentially why or how I say things the way they do. Just it's dealing with stress because there are bad actors out there. That part is real, but it's not everybody. And you have to remember too that sometimes people, they just don't know. They just don't know exactly what's going on, and they may take the easy route and go for the sort of choice that sounds good maybe on the surface, but ultimately is not good. As we go into 2025 and President Musk and Donald Trump are going to take office, they're really going to be pushing people towards the dark side. I don't know how else to say to put it. It's just what it is, right? They're going to bring out the anger in people. They're going to bring out the worst in people, and that's their game plan. Don't fall for it, and you don't have to. Be aware of that they're out there, right? But don't fall for it. Don't let your kids fall for it. Don't let your friends fall for it. And what do I mean by sort of bring out the dark side? Anyone who watches these people, they're just all about anger all the time. It's easy to see. And they capture the sort of anger that a lot of people are feeling. That's why I talked about in the beginning how it feels like the world is falling apart. And guys, I really know. I know the world could be very, very frustrating. You see cost of everything go up. You see opportunities go down. And it just feels like, God, how can I, get ahead in today's world? It's really tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I know it's tough. But one thing that I think helps people navigate this world is people being honest with you. So one of the things that I think a lot of media sources out there sort of is a disservice to the public is they focus on the fighting all the time. Any major news network or even many things you see on YouTube, they bring two people on screen and it's all just about fighting, right? You got to get one person on one side, you got another person on the other side, and we watch them fight, and that's the entertainment, right? We feel like, well, the world's falling apart. Let's at least watch people fight and enjoy that, right? It all becomes a boxing match. If you guys don't know, and I know a lot of the new people to the community, I was a professor for about 10 years. And my job wasn't to, bring students in and get them to fight. That's not my goal. My goal is to bring students in every semester and teach them about the world, right? This is what's going on in the world. This is how to help you understand it. If you have any questions, please ask. And let's have honest discussions about that. My job here is to be a resource and to help you understand about the world. Also, too, occasionally in the classroom, I give my opinion, but it wasn't ever necessarily like you have to agree with me or whatever. Because and I think as a part of the education standpoint is, whatever topic we're talking about, I'll give you 3 books, 4 books, right? May have different, opinions, these kind of things, but we are all going to start on a baseline of okay, let's agree on certain facts, right? And even if some facts you're not sure, then we look it up together. Point being is a very different sort of environment at university setting. That's why I mentioned university. Than just, again, much of media and TV is 2 people on screen fighting and let's watch the boxing match. It turns out that most of us out there, we'll say the 99.9%, we'll call it majority, have a lot more in common than not. And what ends up happening in today's society is people who, I'll just be perfectly frank, are at the very, very top. They benefit by having all the people at the very, very bottom fight each other all the time. And we're focused on, and I see it so much in U.S. media. I can't speak to every, country out there, but they always focus on left, right, this, left, right, that. And the real focus should be on top, bottom, right? Instead of going, okay, that person over there took my pie and that person over there took my pie. Let's figure out a way to hey, let's make sure there's enough pie for everybody, right? So we're not stressing out all the time. This is the truth though. We've gone through a crazy historical period the last couple of years, And I also want to give you some historical context in this. This is sort of like mirroring what happened, say, 100 years ago. You had World War One, you had the Spanish flu, and I'm talking about, essentially literally 100 years ago, turn of the century, 1900, in the 20s, and then you had this like roaring 20s. You got, sort of American history, and we had these crazy stock market boom. Everyone was speculating, and after that, as you guys know, we had the Great Depression. And it's crazy how our history, it's not exactly, identical to 100 years ago, but it is similar. We had the pandemic, right? We have wars going on right now. We have crazy speculation in the markets. And if you guys know my channel, we talk about the markets quite a bit. And now we got this new administration coming in, right, with Musk and Trump. And they're all about misinformation and disinformation and about sowing anger. They're also about, they keep talking about, hey guys, we're going to, overturn the establishment. We're going to upturn the system. Like these guys are, wealthy dudes, born rich. They don't give they don't give a care about you at all, nor do they understand your lives. And a lot of people are falling for it. And you kind of see this, unfortunately, right-wing movements going around the world. And I'm just like, oh my God, what is going on? And in this day and age, and I keep saying it so many times, in this day and age, getting good information is really important. I'll give you an example, and this is today, unfortunately, here in Korea. It was just reported we had a plane crash, and it's the worst in decades. I don't even it's hard to talk about. Be perfectly frank. And if you guys don't know, my childhood as well, as I was involved in a plane crash at the end of the Vietnam War, so I take this stuff really seriously. I saw the footage of the plane crash in Korea. I think there's only like 2 survivors. It's pretty bad. And there's all these families that were basically on vacation in Thailand. And they're flying back to Korea. And we don't know the cause exactly. I know it looks like the wheels didn't deploy and the plane skid along and crashed. I bring this up because the first thing that I think about when I see something like this is, one, I feel very, very sorry for the families involved, right? These just people just want to live their regular lives, go on vacation, enjoy themselves during the holiday, and just do what people do. And sometimes things like this happen, right? And the question we have now is, okay, what's the cause? Is it something with Boeing, manufacturing, something mechanical? I don't know. It could be. It's something with the pilot error, right? Pilots did something wrong. I don't know. It could be. Is it something crazy, weather or freak accident with a bird? Or anything. I'm just saying I don't know. But this is part of understanding, like, okay, these challenges face us. Can we get some good information on it? And I wish we would treat everything that we see in the today's world with the same kind of respect for every issue, right? First and foremost, know that there's a real people involved, right? Second, what's the truth of the matter, right? Can we identify the truth? And third, how can we prevent these kind of things from ever happening again? For me, this is a very simple way and a logical way, and simple is the right word, but logical way to address anything that happens in the world. And always put people first, right? What's going on, right? Figure out the facts and then find out reasonable solutions. So for me, if you guys don't, know my history and stuff like that, I've always deeply been interested in politics. I don't mention it all the time on the channel. I know we've been talking a lot lately. And I feel like that there's just more need for real discussions about real problems that real people face. And unfortunately, we live in a world to where if you want to win elections, your best bet, I guess, in some circles is just to fool whatever group of people as much as you can. And then after you get in office, just pretend like you never said things. I feel like that's where we are with the Trump and the Musk stuff. I totally get it, right? And I've been warning people about this for a long time, and now that we're actually seeing it, it's worse than I even thought it was going to be. And I understand there's a lot of people who are still fooled, and they keep talking about Kamala this and Biden that. Guys, that's long gone, right? America made the choice. That's where we are, and that's what we're dealing with. And I'm just talking about the repercussions of things that are going on. And unfortunately, this hasn't been like hard to see. What I mean, unfortunately, is like I'm trying to warn people for a long time, right? And for those people who are unfamiliar with the whole Musk situation, it gets really complicated. And I just want to just lay this out there and sort of why it feels like the world's falling apart. So you have a dude who's done this several times. He has more than one company. He often has fights with people with inside his company. He gets kicked out of whatever company. He leaves, takes that money, and goes and starts a new company. He's done this several times. And what's kind of going on right now with, say, the Tesla situation is essentially they got a bunch of competition in their space. They're also in a market that is not really for everyone, right? They sell a premium car, to be really frank. You can call it luxury if you want, but it's a premium car, so it's not for everybody. And you have an economy that's slowing. So he's under pressure, like, oh my God, just in general, just economy or globally, people have less money. They're not so willing to buy said cars, and there's more competition, right? And he basically doesn't have any new products coming out at all. And so he's looking for something else to do. And he's going into politics, basically. So he sees the writing on the wall. He's making this shift. And I mention that is because you have to understand sort of like his perspective on stuff, where he's coming from, and sort of why everything is becoming destabilized is because he's representing a movement of these business people, talking about Musk here, or his friend Peter Thiel, or whoever. They have deep business, sort of inklings, I guess you could say. And the inkling is to make as much money as you possibly can. And they're like, okay, well, if my businesses are really struggling, I might as well just go into politics. And you could argue the same thing about Trump, right? Failed casinos, these kind of things. You know what? I'm going to go into politics. And that's the people who are running the show right now in the USA. It happens in other countries as well. And you get a lot of these right-wing movements. And unfortunately, a lot of these people are con people, right? They're involved in pump and dumps in the markets, that kind of stuff. They're talking about Vivek, these kind of things. They have tons of scandals, this sort of stuff. And they pick a bunch of sycophants, so basically people around them, yes people, right? Yes boys, yes girls, who only praise them and stuff like that. And for those of us who can like see these things coming or know these people behind closed doors, you like try to warn people. But I understand that this compounds because you have a group of people in, be it US or wherever. So it's not just USA. I just want to make this clear, that are really, really struggling out there right now, right? And it's hard for them to, keep up with all the stuff happening all the time. And I understand that, guys. I completely understand, right? If you work, say, 12 hours a day, you come home, you just want to take care of your kids, take care of your family, and not have to be stressing out about, whether the world falling apart or not. My opinion on any of these kind of things, and I know we're talking about politics today, but it's just, I just want leaders that they're not in the headlines every day. They're not. That's their job. Their job is to make sure everything's functioning okay and go home. That's it. And we don't have to talk about them all day, every day. Unfortunately, though, the destabilizing the factors that we have coming in 2025, it's like we're all stuck with this stuff, right? And I want to address the people who love the Trumps and the Musks, right? So the first thing they'll say is like, oh, Biden this, Kamala this, that stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like these kind of people, they don't have an understanding of the world. And I don't want to be in a mean way, because there's different types of understanding. There's willfully ignorant and just ignorant. Ignorant means I just don't know. Willfully ignorant means like you literally close your eyes and you don't want to know. I'll give you a simple example. Right now, things cost a lot of money, right? You guys know this. Things are expensive. We're talking about inflation here. And people say, oh, well, it all happened to Biden. It's all Biden's fault, right? I'm just, talking about politics stuff. Well, think of it this way. When you talk about the pandemic, right? A lot of things shut down, and it's all over the world. It's not just USA, all over the world, right? Food production shuts down, home building shuts down. There's just a lot of things shut down all over the world, right? Shipping maybe not so fast as it used to be. So prices of things are going to go up because supply is down, right? Things are going to cost a lot more money, be it cars, whatever. And then we're all at home and we're like speculating on, Bitcoins and dog coins and this kind of stuff. And like everything is just it was a different world. People are changing the way that they're thinking about work, right? Gee, I don't want to go to the office anymore. I want to stay home and just play Zoom all day, right? These kind of things. You guys know just things were changing. Then on top of that, and this goes well before the pandemic, we had the great financial crisis, which you had a whole bunch of crazy real estate speculation. It was easy to get money back then. All these people got all these homes that they probably couldn't afford, probably shouldn't have gotten in the first place. And we're still been dealing with that for years past during that time. You had a whole bunch of bailouts on Wall Street. We've never really fully dealt with this kind of stuff. And leading before that was like a long period of deregulation, right? Deregulating the banks, these kind of things. So they're able to loan people a whole bunch of money. So you have this sort of, and I know I'm brushing over, long periods of history, but you have this period of this like easy money. Let's put it this way, easy money. Then you got this crazy pandemic, which is a black swan. Let's hope that stuff doesn't happen again. Now we have also wars, which also contribute to the higher prices. If we have wars in the Middle East and suddenly production slows, what do you think is going to happen to the price of oil, right? All of this stuff. Then on top of that, you have the situation in China, which is a very, very important market. If you pay attention to the U.S. economy, the Americans, we'll use the example of iPhone, I always use that one. They sell a whole bunch of iPhones to people in China. What happens when people in China are all speculating on their real estate and it turned out to be a massive bubble? You have all these people who took out a whole bunch of loans expecting that they're going to make a bunch of money on property because property's been going up to the moon forever, right? It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. But then it turns out that there's not enough buyers anymore for said homes because you know what? Their population is actually declining. They're just they don't have there's not enough people to buy the homes, right? Like they thought things were going to grow forever, and then you have those people who took these loans on unfinished homes, and it's a whole mess. It's a whole entire mess, and you got companies running away, you got corruption, and what does that have to do to the U.S. situation? It's a kind of similar situation. So, say in the China situation, then what you do is you try to buy off as many politicians as you possibly can. They're having wranglings over there between the arguments between the government and rich people. Where's the money going to come from? How are we going to, save their system? And they're trying to thinking about, okay, we got to start printing up money like crazy. So they got their own problems over there. They're actually in deflation, meaning that prices are declining in some industries. And it's actually a big worry because people just like because runaway inflation is no good, but you also don't want deflation where things are going down because you're worried about demand across the board. Because the best way to think about it is like, if you know something's going to go on sale, you're not going to buy it today. You're going to wait till it goes on sale even more. But then the longer you wait, you're like, wow, it keeps going down in price. I just keep waiting. And so they're really facing those challenges, which have a deep, deep effect on what's going on in the American economy. And so I mention all these things, right? And then I try to give you guys a global perspective on stuff. And guys, we have the same problems here in Korea. We got real problems with the birth rate, real problems. We got real problems with youth unemployment, very real problems. Same as in China, same as in USA. Everyone's concerned. Because we went through this long period, essentially, hey, money's easy, money's fast, right? Everyone's gonna have a job forever. Y'all gonna do great. But then what happens when it doesn't, right? What happens when the bubble pops? And just think of it this way: in your neck of the woods, are homes affordable where you live? This is a simple question. Some of you might actually say yes. It depends on which part of you live. But if you live in some of the hot neighborhoods in USA, you probably know they're not affordable. I think everybody knows. When I was in LA in like 2015, 2016, I remember meeting people in there. The whole joke was like, yeah, I love my home, but I can't move anywhere because like if I sell it, I just got to go buy another overpriced place. Yes, I'm rich on paper, but now I got to pay tons and tons of property taxes, right? I'm making jokes, but this is sort of what people were talking about back then. And it's the same everywhere, right? And this sort of something I always try to point out with you guys is the things that you're experiencing in your neck of the woods is not isolated. It's not isolated to one president. It's not isolated to one city. It's not isolated to one country, and we're all feeling it. And so what ends up happening as we go into, say, 2025, you have a couple guys that are going to the office, be the Musk and the Trump, and they're all about playing that magic game, the sleight of hand to try to fool you of what's happening, these kind of things. Or they're all about the corruption of where, hey, if my company's failing, be it in the stock price, whatever, we're going to, try to hide data from you. We're going to hide crash data onto my Tesla cars, or we're going to loosen regulations. So if I don't pay my workers, no one can come sue me because, hey, I control the labor board, this kind of stuff. And I know it's a really complicated topic. So I understand if people are like kind of new to the channel, you're like, I'm going over so much so quickly, but this is sort of why we do this stuff every day. We bring in, new news, what's going on, how can we interpret it, how does it fit with all the other stuff that we know, and have honest conversations about this stuff. And that, guys, I'm also real flat honest with you as well. If I don't know something, I tell you, I don't know, because I don't know everything. They don't. I don't know what went wrong with the plane crash today in Korea. I don't know. I saw the video for myself. I don't know what went wrong. But my approach to everything is, okay, one, always remember these are real people involved. Two, figure out, okay, what are the facts? Why did something go wrong? And three, find reasonable solutions to this stuff and have honest conversations about that. So that's my whole perspective on these things. And guys, if you're curious, because I mean, so many times on the channel, I wish I could run in US. I really do. It's just the way that it is. Asian Americans, that's who I am. I'm Vietnamese American. I have very little chance to win in US politics. It's just kind of how it is. I mean, guys, I really know. Doesn't matter which party, I really know. And I've had conversations with people in the Democratic Party. I really know. I've had conversations with people in the Republican Party. Really know. They're not looking for people like me. If you're ever curious, like, hey, why don't people speak like plainly and honestly in politics? Because they're not looking for people to do that. They're looking for people who are essentially actors. They're looking for people who are willing to lie to the public. They're looking for people that read a bunch of polling data, listen to the advisors, and it's all about playing that particular game, which isn't necessarily part of just being honest with the American people, which I wish more people were. So I get frustrated. I see it everywhere. And it's coming to a boiling point to me this holiday season where I see the fighting in, you know, all sorts of ways, shape, or form. But it can get better, and it doesn't have to be this way. In this world, right? This is the beauty of, you know, the technology. We can communicate with each other in ways that we never could have before. And I'll give you some example. And I'm just going to use Korean history if you guys don't know. There's a couple movies. There's one is called 1987, When the Day Will Come. There's another one called 1212 The Day. And I've been mentioning these movies before when we talk about the impeachment process going on right now in Korea. And now we're thinking of going through another impeachment. But if you look at Korean history, there's a lot of bad things that happened back in the 80s, also the 70s. And at that time, it was easy to cover up corruption. It was easy to cover up bad things because just the flow of information was much different. You could argue as well, say in the USA, with the Vietnam War, when the American public was lied to. And guys, I take this very seriously. You know, I'm from Vietnam, so there's that. And you know, ultimately, news reporting came out that's okay. It looks like that you're being lied to, for be frank. And you know, the public's opinion turns, and it's the same kind of stuff that we have today, to where, you know, it's really important to just have regular people have conversations of like what's true and what's not true. So I know I talk a lot about this stuff. I don't know. There's just a lot of things are on my mind right now, and I hope things can get better in 2025. I hope so. And I think it can be as more of their, essentially the Musk and the Trump lies get exposed. But I just wanted to sort of put it in historical context that we saw this sort of same patterns 100 years ago, and we're kind of heading that way again. But it doesn't have to be that way. And there's enough of us, as I'm actually really encouraged by when I hear people in our community from Germany saying, Chris, yes, it's true, Musk is supporting the, you know, German far right, but most of us Germans are actually not that crazy, and we know history too, and we're going to try to stop it. So that's my feelings on all this stuff. I hope you guys are safe and well. I hope you're enjoying your holidays, and remember, it's not about the presents under the tree, it's about the people around you who are here to support you. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you on the next video.